The Minster possesses a tuned set of 12 bells in the key of D, located behind the louvred openings of the West Tower, and is widely regarded to be amongst the best-sounding rings of 12 in the country. The tenor bell is the heaviest and weighs in at 2,900 hundredweight, or 1,500 kilograms, and has a mouth diameter of 4 feet 6 inches, or 1.37 meters. There is also an extra light G sharp, which allows for a lighter ring of 8 in the key of A. This is ideal for teaching purposes. All in all, there are just over 6 tons of rotating bell metal within the belfry. There are also 2 bells hung externally for the quarter-jack chimes. The lighter bell weighs 0.68 of a hundredweight, or 35 kilograms, tuned to D, and the other approximately 1.25 hundredweight, or 64 kilograms, tuned to A. The sound of the Minster bells is an important and regular feature of Wimborne's soundscape, as it most likely has been for many years. The bells are automatically chimed to mark the passing of time. This feature dates back to the late 14th century, when the earliest bell was given, about the same time as when the Minster's astronomical clock was installed. Until the formation of the Wimborne Society of Bell Ringers in 1883, the history of bell ringing has not been well documented, other than by payments to the ringers and for bell maintenance. The churchwarden's accounts of 1760, showing payments to the ringers, give an insight into why the bells were rung. The annual salary of £3, equivalent to about £650 today, was probably split among 6 ringers, as there were only 6 bells at the time. With the exception of weddings and funerals, ringing nowadays is mostly a voluntary, unpaid service. The 12 bells are regularly rung full circle by the bell ringers for services, weddings, funerals, state and civic occasions, on Remembrance Sunday, when the bells are half muffled, and for welcoming the new year. The town's historic pancake race on Shrove Tuesday, revived in 1998, includes the tolling of the pancake bell, the 10th of the 12. Notable events have been commemorated with the ringing of peals, consisting of at least 5,000 changes and taking 3 to 3.5 hours non-stop. Some of these performances are recorded on the peal boards hung in the baptistry and the ringing chamber. The Wimborne Society also enters teams in local, regional and national ringing competitions, often with some success. The earliest bell, the bell of St. Cuthburga, was given in 1385 and remained in use until 1629, when it was recast. The West Tower was not built until 1456, so the early bells would have hung in the central or lantern tower. Until 1686, there were 5 bells, now hung in the West Tower, as the spire surmounting the central tower had collapsed in 1602. There is reference in the accounts of 1663-4 of a payment made of 1 shilling in beer to the ringers for a peal to try if the tower shook. The 5 bells had all been recast by then, and a 6th added in 1686. 2 further treble bells were added in 1856 to make the octave. Only 1 full peal was ever rung on the old 8 tower bells in 1902, and it is recorded on a board. The original 2 quarter-jack bells were probably post-Reformation, 16th to 17th century, and by 1910 they had become cracked. Because of the tower bell's poor tonal qualities, it was decided to recast all the bells in 1911. At the same time, 2 new trebles were added to the tower bells, thus making the first set of 10 bells in Dorset and the Diocese of Salisbury. The bells were hung within a new steel frame. All the bells were tuned to the then modern 5-tone Simpson principle and remained in use until a major refurbishment in 2006. During 2012, the bells were augmented to 12, with 2 new trebles plus the additional light G-sharp for the light ring of 8 bells. Other than a letter dated 1822 from several townspeople requesting a meeting with the church wardens to discuss the formation of a group of ringers for the Minster bells, there is scant information about the organisation of the ringers until the formation of the Minster Society in 1883. There is a framed list hung in the ringing chamber of the names of those who have served the church in the office of ringer in Wimborne Minster since 1860. This seems to imply that there was some sort of organisation for the ringers before 1883. The society was organised on a formal basis with annual meetings and a set of rules. In the original rules of the society, a framed copy of which hangs in the ringing chamber, there is a clear distinction between the ringers and probationers. The ringers were expected to ring for all Sunday services and were paid by the church wardens an annual amount of £15. In addition, the tower captain was paid £1 in order to ensure that the bells were oiled and the belfry kept clean. Although there is little record of the standard of ringing achieved during these early years, the society was active. The AGM minutes and articles in the parish magazine make reference to outings, which often covered reasonable distances. Outings continue to this day to be a regular feature of the society's activities. The earliest record of a female ringer occurs in the Minster's Parish Magazine, February 1914. Cordelia Amy Maud Hannam was born circa 1900. She is recorded in the Society's subscription list from 1915 to 1923. As of 2022, the Society has 15 to 20 regular ringing members, plus learners and visitors. In addition to their ringing commitments, the Society members also enjoy many social activities, including a Shrove Tuesday pancake party, summer barbecue, New Year's Eve party prior to ringing in the new year, as well as an annual Skittles match against a church warden's team. The theory behind English-style change ringing, with its mathematical structure, evolved from the late 16th century, with different method patterns being committed to memory. A simpler form of ringing the changes would involve changes to the order of the bells being determined either in writing or by being called by the conductor. A circa 1900 photo of the Minster's ringing chamber shows music stands, which implies the changes were written as a set of numbers for each ringer to follow, with the score placed on the music stands. Interestingly, there is an earlier Parish Magazine report of a more advanced form of ringing in 1887, when the first 120 half-pull changers were rung on 8 bells. The reference to half-pull changers would most likely have meant the more advanced form of method ringing using memory alone. Up until about 1970, regular ringing at the Minster was limited to a few of the standard methods on 8 bells, and less often on 10. The ringing of peals for important occasions would have been, in the main, performed by visitors. With the steady influx of new ready-made ringers, the standard of ringing significantly improved in sophistication. When the famous bells of St Martin's in the Bull Ring in the centre of Birmingham were replaced and opened as the first ring of 16 in the country, a society band was given a slot during the opening day, taking part in what was an historic event. A society band was also invited to ring at Westminster Abbey on New Year's Day 1998. Service ringing and practices regularly include advanced 12-belled method ringing, matched by only a few other towers in the southwest of England. There has been no change since the late 16th century in the manner that tower bells are rung full circle, using rope and wheel, although there have been significant improvements made with the materials and manufacturing technology used. With the advent of digital technology, the Society, like many other bands, uses computer-based ringing simulators as a teaching aid with silenced bells. Sensors attached to the wheels provide the signals for a graphical representation of moving bells on the screen and the generation of bell sounds. Electronic analysis of the sound from each bell is also used as a means of assessing the accuracy of the ringing. Microphones and a computer are used to convert the sounds into digital information, which is then analysed by the software to determine the accuracy of each ringer's striking. We hope you have enjoyed this presentation. More detailed information about the bells, the Society and ringing in general will be found on the Society's website.